Ladies and gentlemen of the Australian Opera and Ballet Orchestra, this is your first call.
To music lovers around the world, Yvonne Kenny is known as Australia's most successful contemporary soprano. Her singing of the Olympic hymn at the closing ceremony of the Sydney 2000 Olympic Games was beamed worldwide to the largest audience any performer could ever wish for. Her recordings are the best-selling Australian classical music albums of all time.
Bye, everyone.
And she has a legion of fans from the United States to Europe. But life as an opera diva is not what most people would imagine or envy. To maintain a successful career, Yvonne must face the challenge of a world where popular tastes are shifting and opera itself is becoming more market-driven.
I think that's very lyrical.
Yeah, that's good, that's good.
Unite. Can I break that a little bit? Unite, inspire,
I think so.
bring on.
Yes.
Over a period of 18 months, Yvonne opened her life to our documentary crew and revealed what drives her as a human being and as a singer.
Amazing. I think a lot of people who are interested in singing or music making don't really have any idea what it means in terms of a life. You right, Mum? You know, actually what the demands of it are. I think people have a very false idea that it's all champagne and roses at the stage door and, you know, parties, and it's interesting for people, you know, to see that it is tough and it is like being an athlete in training, and there's so many aspects to it to make it work. It's not just standing up and opening your mouth and singing.
My idea was, okay, here is Lento, 52.
Well, being a freelance artist and having a career that is being planned 2 or 3 years in advance all the time, you're not just dealing with the present. You know, this is the great thing in Buddhist philosophy, that you should live in the moment. And I really believe that. What time am I actually on? But when your life is being planned 2 or 3 years in advance and you're being asked questions like, what program of songs do you want to sing for that concert in 2 or 3 years' time? You can't just be always living in the moment. You have to think forward, and they're decisions that only I can make.
I don't believe it in this song. Huh? I'm so in love. It says, taunt me, hurt me, deceive me, desert me, I'll still love you. Rubbish!
Get Jermaine Greer onto that.
Our time with Yvonne begins here in Western Australia. She's about to appear in a live national television broadcast from the annual Lewin concert.
1-1-1.
I've never done a big open-air event before. It's a completely new challenge, so I don't know what I'm in for. I don't know what it's going to feel like. It's a big pressure to do something like that live, you know, to the whole country. There's a lot of unknown factors there. Sort of like do a good job or just, you know, fail before the nation, basically.
Now you can.
It's good having Bryn on the same bill because he's so incredibly relaxed and laid back.
Is that overdoing it, Bryn?
You know, comfortable with himself in his skin. Just doesn't take it all too seriously from the point of view of getting too stressed out.
I'm going to have fun in this one.
He's going to scare the hell out of me, you know that?
Yeah. Anything you can sing, I can sing higher.
I can sing anything higher than you.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
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 Yes, you can.
Come in as soon as you can or I'll die up with it.
Okay.
Drawing a crowd of 6,000 from all parts of Australia, this concert is like a middle-aged Woodstock, reflecting the tastes of an audience that might not normally follow opera.
This is really the first time that Bryn and I have worked together. See what I mean? We get on like a house on fire.
I can see,
Yes.
I can see.
He's charming and relaxed.
We've been working on this program for nearly 6 months, constantly faxing each other, ringing each other, changing always. To cut down barriers somehow or other, and this is the way that people try to popularize our art form now, is to do these special events.
It was an extraordinary event. I felt that the audience were wonderful. I was really touched by the way that when there was an aria that was very tender or gentle, there was total silence and total concentration from the audience. There's a great power in the human voice, I think, that really connects to the soul of the listener. And I get an incredible amount of feedback from my recordings, actually. People who say that in times of emotional stress or had illnesses, that they've listened to my CDs and it's really helped them to cope or to heal. This concert at Leuven has been a remarkable event because there's been the great excitement of the concert itself and the success of it and the stress of it. And this morning here at this beach, there's been a ceremony for my great friend Stephen Porter, who died just under a year ago. I think Stephen and I were soulmates. We were great friends, and he had great connections with Western Australia and the Western Australia Symphony Orchestra, and he used to spend every summer on this beach. He loved it here. So all his family and friends have gathered to think of Stephen, and I believe that when you have a great love for someone and they're removed from you on the physical plane, that just transmutes into another form, into a kind of spiritual aspect, and that love never goes away. It's always there. It's just a different form. So I do feel quite close to him still. By nature of the job, of always travelling, you do spend a lot of time on your own, and it's easy to allow melancholy to set in. The hardest thing is to self-motivate, to keep active. Because I don't have anybody telling me how to run my day. I don't have to be at the office at 9 and come home at 5:30.
3 months after the Lewin concert, Yvonne has returned to London to star in the revival of Jonathan Miller's production of Der Rosenkavalier. Opening night is less than a week away.
Ta-da! Der Rosenkavalier.
Yvonne's recognised across the world as one of our great opera performers. I mean, she's very discriminating and really quite choosy about what she does. And she doesn't throw her weight around. She doesn't behave like a diva. You would never guess from talking to her or working with her that she was, you know, a major figure on the operatic scene.
I'll do that now, before we start. Thanks very much, Jane.
That's okay.
I've just got this amazing cigarette holder that's new, and I just want to work with it a little bit. Oh, I say, these pillows need a bit of a iron. Hello. No? No?
I feel completely as though I'm a stage animal, really. I feel really at home up there, even though you feel nervy and all of that, but actually being on stage and creating another character.
She is one of those rare opera singers who can act quite naturally. Now, she happens to be a great singer as well, but as far as I'm concerned, a director of musical drama, the fact that she's a singing actress is what makes it exciting to work with her.
Nice auditorium, isn't it? Have a look. Okay. I don't know where my dressing table's gone. I better get dressed.
As you build towards the first night of an opera, there's a lot of stress, which is actually much more easy to cope with than it used to be as a younger singer. I feel much calmer and I enjoy it much more. But still, you know, when you're the lead role in any opera, a lot of people are relying on you.
It goes its own way. Dragging it a bit. Yep.
Fürchte dich nicht, Marie.
At the same time, I'm trying to prepare for a concert with the Academy of St. Martin's in Linz in Austria, on a tour with them. So I'm working on that at the moment.
This is a lot of violin solo. This is excellent. More of him than me. We like that.
And then we were working through that repertoire for the recording that's going to be for Chandos Records in October. You know, the workload is tremendous.
Und das Haupt mit ihrem Singen.
I have a policy of having very good relationships with my neighbours because I'm away a lot. It just depends, you know, some people are not very forthcoming. Like the lady further along, for example, the next house along. It was a freezing cold night and it was snowing, and I looked out my window before I went to bed and I could see that she'd left her car lights on. So I got dressed again, put my big warm boots on, went out into the cold night and knocked on her door because I thought she'll have a flat battery in the morning. And she answered the door and I said, I just want to let you know that you'd left your lights on. I thought you might get a flat battery to go to work in the morning. And she said, I knew that, I'm just going out. Not,
oh, thanks, or thank you for being so thoughtful, you know. And she's never spoken to me since, and I've never spoken to her. And I'm really glad about that. Ah. You going to learn Rose and Cavalier Days? I feel at this point in my life and in my career, the main challenge for me is to maintain my fitness physically, because that's what always goes. So it's really a priority for me now, either walking or swimming, trying to do something every day, like walking on the heath. And I feel really, really well. I love coming and looking at this on a clear day. It's not so clear, but you can still see. And you see all the various grand houses, stately homes, etc., and then down into the basin of London, which is sort of mist-covered. But I love the idea that this green strip of Hampstead Heath lies between all of that and me. I think it's just beautiful. When I come home from rehearsals and I'm tired, instead of just slopping in the chair, I try to just go to the gym and spend an hour there, walking, getting the heart rate up, using some of the machines, not to build muscle, to actually make my shape more lean. And I can see an improvement in my body shape already because I've got the dresses that I wore as the Marschallin 2.5 years ago. That was my goal, to fit into them, and I did.
My neck in the right position. We're looking at perfection here. If I could have that video, I'd show my clients how to do it. 5. Now, what we're going to do here is take 4 skin folds, primarily...
Skin folds? Oh my God.
The thickness of the skin on the body. So the bicep, the tricep on the back of the arm, just above the hip bone, it's called the suprailiac, turning around, quarter turn, on her back to the right-hand side. And this was her largest measurement the last time we took it. And she did say that she has a part with Cleopatra in April. And
in March next year.
Okay. And of
famous
course,
bath scene, and I didn't feel I was in good enough shape.
Yeah, and she was carrying a hell of a lot of fat on her back. Yeah, so what we're going to do is really target that area, and hopefully through the exercise and the nutrition it's actually come down. Okay. Right, let's begin with
Thanks
the
for that vote of confidence, Mike.
Well,
I have to tell you, this is very funny. Mike does this amazing thing called an 8-week body reshape. And when I first came, he said something to me like, he thought it might take 18 weeks for me.
You have to be realistic. Okay, quarter turn.
Tomorrow, I've got a very kind of rigid regime. The performance is early start, it's 6:30 start. And I'd like to be there 2 hours ahead because there's a lot of extra fuss goes on a first night, you know. So I'm going to be there by 4:30, I hope. And I'll get Brian, who drives me always to the airport and everything, to take me in.
I don't think she's a person who really is endangered by any of the pressures that bear down on some singers. I mean, people come and see her and they're absolutely knocked out by her performance. You can see tonight. I've been very lucky with her. I'm not a very hectoring director. It's not a question of telling her what to do. It's a question of exciting her imagination, and then she knows what to do.
De Rosenkavalier holds a special place in Yvonne's repertoire because it is about mature love stepping aside for the passion of youth. Yvonne plays the role of the Marschallin, Princess of Württemberg, whose young lover Octavian falls for the young Sophie.
It's interesting how I started off my career singing the role of the young Sophie at the in London. And now to have moved on to the other bookend, to sing the Marschallin, it's just sort of indicative of the whole journey I've taken as a singer and as a person. As a singer, of course, it's one of the great roles, and it's a great acting role, and the text that she sings is so pertinent to somebody at my stage of life. There's been a huge change, I suppose, in what I expect from life and relationships and things like that over the years. And I think I've never felt more content than I am at this point in my life. And I wish I could have felt like this when I was 30. Might have had a bit higher success rate.
The first hint of Yvonne's future emerged when she was just 9 years old, here in the leafy North Shore suburbs of Sydney.
The first time that anyone really realised that I had a special voice was when I was in primary school, at Northbridge Primary School, and I took the main role in Gilbert and Sullivan, Gondoliers, and Pirates of Penzance. And when I finished singing it at the first performance, everybody erupted into tumultuous applause for so long that I had to sing it again. I sang an encore immediately. There was no operatic background in my family. My father had enjoyed listening to Viennese waltzes and this kind of thing, but no opera really.
Yvonne was not thinking of a singing career when she made this recording at 16, nor did she choose music as a subject at university.
I did a science degree, and in my first year of that degree, I began having a half an hour a week singing lesson at the conservatorium with a lovely woman called Myra Lambert.
My first meeting with Yvonne was when she came in and said she'd like to audition for me and sing, and here was this nice little, very neat, pure, girlish sound. She was going to be a biochemist, but I could hear that there was a potential there, and there was. She unlocked the voice, and this lovely flowing sound came, and she began to think, well, this is good too. This is really what I really like doing.
Pam Zamanek, one of Yvonne's closest friends from that time, remembers well the unfolding of that voice.
I still remember the first time when we realised that our friend Vonnie was special and in fact had a special talent. She'd invited us along to see her perform in the Sun Aria competition, and she came out on stage looking resplendent and began singing One Fine Day from Madame Butterfly, and we were just so moved. I remember being in floods of tears. It was quite an experience. I think Yvonne's always been a very disciplined person. I suppose a good example of that would be when we were at university together. We'd often go on holidays and we'd all be having great fun in the surf, and then she'd gradually just take herself away and we'd see her down in a more secluded part of the beach, singing, practicing. I mean, the amount of study was just incredible.
A year later, Yvonne won a scholarship to study at the School of La Scala Opera House in Milan.
It was quite unusual to have an Australian in the La Scala Opera School. And then when I went across to London after that year of study, I won a big competition, which was a shock to myself and everybody else, I think. So that sort of set things in motion very quickly. And then I had another stroke of fate, taking over as the understudy in a big Donizetti opera, which was a really tough night, another back-to-the-wall night.
I remember they announced this evening, Miss Jana Price is indisposed, and everybody went, oh. You know, and they said, and tonight the part will be sung by Miss Yvonne Kenny, who learned the part at 4 days' notice, or something like that. Everybody's going, oh, what will this be like? And she sang her first aria, and it just, there was a moment of silence at the end of it, and then everybody went crazy.
The critics raved, and perhaps inevitably she was hailed as the next Joan Sutherland. In every sense, Yvonne Kenny's career was launched.
She became a famous singer, one of the new young singers. that you read about, you know, so-and-so is new, so-and-so is hot, this is somebody you've got to have. She got engaged everywhere. She worked with everybody. She went to, you know, to the continent. She went to Vienna. She went to Paris. She sang with Luciano Pavarotti. She sang with Jose Carreras. She did all those things that young sopranos get to do.
As a young singer, when I had those ambitions of being up there and being a well-known singer, it was at the expense of everything else. I was just really focused on that more than anything else, and everything else sort of fell away. I mean, there were opportunities for me to marry in the past as a younger person, and I just made the decision that it wasn't going to work because I was so devoted to what I was doing.
It's a very emotional business being on the stage, and because we're all so open with our emotions, you know, to actually portray our roles, you do get to know people more quickly than you would in the normal scheme of life. And you can form relationships which are quite passionate with people quite quickly. But the thing that I began to realize was that it's a fantasy. And there have been times when I've been very emotionally attached to people who thought they were emotionally attached to me, but in fact, it turned out that they were fascinated by the character that I was on the stage, rather than me as Yvonne.